This is a special election committee special meeting, Monday, October 22nd, or Monday, October 17th, excuse me. I'm calling this meeting to order. We do have a quorum this morning. All of the members of the committee are present. The first order of our business will be I would like everyone to please turn their cell phones either off or to turn them on silent, please. And I'll try to remind you to bring them back online once we have the meeting is over. But the first order of business will be approval of the minutes from the final governing board election committee meeting on March 17th, 2022. Has everyone had an opportunity to look at those, and are there any questions, comments, or otherwise? I did pick up a couple of things from there, a couple of suggestions that were in there from the committee that we may incorporate into the this year's work. But okay, seeing no objections, I'll assume that by consensus that those are approved.
Just, do you want typo errors? Do you want?
No. Moving along next, there is a committee roster. I think that's been in your packet. It should have the names and the telephone numbers of everyone. If not, I will get that for you. The next piece of business is going to be a part of the handout in the package about using BoardDocs. Is everyone on the committee familiar with BoardDocs and how to use it in order to find meeting minutes and agendas and things like that? If not, please let me know and we'll make sure, if this very nice set of slides that's in your packet isn't sufficient, we'll make sure that we get you enough training so that you're comfortable with it and able to find things, because we're going more and more to things being electronic and less paper. So new business. First, I'd like everyone for just a moment to please introduce themselves and their background relative to the governing board and committee work at Sun City West. Barbara, would you start, please?
I didn't quite understand what you asked.
Would you please introduce yourself? Turn the microphone on, too.
I'm a longtime member of the Torch Committee. Lived in Sun City West about 20 years.
Okay.
Here from Michigan.
Would you turn your microphone on?
Oh. I'm Barbara Luzader, resident of Sun City West about 20 years, a longtime member of the Torch Committee, and we've been members of the Election Committee in prior years, so thank you.
Thank you. Don?
I'm Don Luzader. I'm with her. I have served on committees in the past. I was on Budget and Finance for 7 years. I was on Legal Affairs, I think the last official year they had it. And we've been on the Election Committee 2 or 3 times, so I don't remember which one, but that's it.
Thank you.
Just push this.
Yes.
I'm Sana Hearn, or Sana Sterling. We've been here for 7 years. I was on the election committee once before, and I was also a member of the Torch Committee, and at this time I'm also on Golf Council.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Luann Kent. I've been here since January 2017, and I moved here from Ireland, even though this isn't an Irish accent. And I've served on the Elections Committee. This is my third time serving on the committee, and I'm not sure how it happened, but I find myself sitting at this table somehow.
I'll take responsibility for that.
I'm Merle Schwepke, and I have been living in Sun City West since 2016, full-time, and I served on the committee last year.
I'm John Nicholas, first time on this committee. Been here for about 9 years. Been on BNF committee, property committee, and quite a few subcommittees.
Thank you. It's obvious that we have a high degree of experience and wealth of knowledge regarding not only Sun City West, but also the operations of this committee, for which I'm very grateful. And I'd like to thank all of you for being part of this committee this year, because I was a director from 2017 to 2020, but the election committee I was unable to be part of because I was a director, and that's a conflict of interest, so I was not able to be on that. All right, so let's go through the next item, 4.02, discussion proposed changes to the candidate packet. I don't know if any of you or all of you have had a chance to read this. This is purely my idea, which I have brought forward and floated with the president and with Karen regarding some ideas of how to simplify all of the work that we have to do, and also how much paper we generate as part of this. In general, what it says is we're going to break this process into two pieces. There's going to be the first piece where the candidates collect signatures, and during that time, they won't be called candidates. We'll refer to them as petitioners. We will give them the information necessary in order to effectively follow the rules for collecting signatures in the community, as well as the forms. And also we'll give them the information that they need to understand the forthcoming work and the expectations we're going to have of them regarding meetings and attendance and so forth. So we're being fully disclosed to those folks what they're going to enter into, and it's not a big surprise after they get all of the signature process completed. So once all of the signature forms have been turned in and the signatures have been verified, those petitioners will now become candidates. The candidates are going to be those people that go through the training, that go to the meet and greets, that have the opportunity to post something on the website for a 2-minute video about themselves, that have an opportunity to also possibly have an interview on KSCW on the radio if they choose to do that. We're going to offer them those things and make it available to them if they wish. But that will be the lead up then to the candidate forums and then the election itself. So what I've suggested is that we're going to have the petitioner packet, which, do you remember last year we had a thing that was about this thick that went out to everybody when they first joined up, or when they first came into and were referred to as candidates, which included all of that information. And this is going to be the petitioner packet now. In other words, this is what people get when they come in and say, I'd like to possibly run it. I'd like to collect the signatures. It has the signature collection form in it. It has the mandatory attendance dates that they will have once if they complete the petitioning process and become candidates. It has the rules for petitioning. And there's also, tips on signature collection, where you can and you can't collect signature. There's at least one of the forums, and there's a section of governing board candidates laws from policy or bylaw L04, and that's for them. So this is going to be the extent of what they get when they first engage with us for the process, and then all of the much more voluminous information, and including the training materials, will be given once they actually achieve candidate status. So I believe that this will make it, not only for this committee but future committees, a little less intense in all of the work and all the things that need to be done before November the 1st, when the petitions officially can be picked up in the office. But it also allows us to go through and take some of the things that we were making copies of and printing out in the paperwork for the candidate packet, and we're going to start making references to that same information that is in BoardDocs or in the bylaws or policies. So this is to try and reduce the amount of paper, to streamline and take some of the pressure off the upfront work that the committee and our administrative secretary, Karen, has to do upfront. So what I'd like to do is ask for any questions or comments regarding that, or changes that you feel might be necessary. And otherwise, I'd like to get a consensus approval that we were going to go move forward with this.
Brian, in looking, and I may have missed it because I'd scanned it very quickly, but I wonder if we should stress the need for more than 200 signatures in case some signatures can't be verified. It's in there, but it might need to be stressed a little bit further, because I believe that's even happened in the past. Yeah.
All right. It's mentioned, and
It's mentioned, but,
I
yeah.
understand her point, and I think what we will do is, part of one of the things that we need to do as a committee is, the week of November 1st is very busy for Karen. There are a lot of other governing board meetings that are going on, and so we're going to have to take some turns manning the office to provide the petitioner packets to people that would come in that first week. I think it's incumbent upon us to maybe emphasize that at that time to the petitioners, and say also that any of the petitioners' forms that they fill out, any of them that have more than one signature on the back of them, are subject to possibly being voided, and that because that's clearly called out, that there's only on the back that there, or in the reference material, that there's only supposed to be one person on each, one person using each form if they're doing it on behalf of one of the petitioners. So there were apparently some of those in the past that had come through with multiple signatories on the back that said that that they had collected some of the signatures, and that's clearly not within the rules of the way we're collecting them. So your point's a very good one, Luann, and I think it's going to be up to us to make sure that we emphasize that further. I mean, unless we want to put it in, 28-point bold red in the paper, and I don't think that's necessary, because Don, you're absolutely right. We already say at least 220 for just in case. And have there been cases where even with 220, there have been some that were that there wasn't enough? Are you aware of that, Merle, at all?
There was one last year.
There was one last year, and was that taken care of? Was the petitioner able to go collect some more signatures?
I don't believe there was.
No.
Okay. Well, all the more reason to turn them in as soon as you can, I guess. But that's a very good idea, and I think we'll make that incumbent upon us as we speak to those members. And I know Karen has mentioned to me more than once that this is something that she emphasizes with the petitioners, that she wants to make sure that nobody accidentally comes up short. Because if they're going to go through all of the effort, for heaven's sakes, let's make sure you've at least got enough. I think when I did it, I collected about 240, and it turned out to be more than enough, so I had no visibility into any of the circumstances of any of the others. So, are there any other questions or comments?
Have we had any interest to this date of people coming in and wanting it early? In other words, there are a lot of people, which would be nice, standing out there waiting for packets.
I'm not aware of anyone that's come in yet. Karen hasn't mentioned that to me. So I think that probably November 1st will be the date. Other questions, comments? Then can I assume from consensus, without objection, that this is acceptable and we're going to adopt this as the way we're going to work for this year, hopefully going forward, that the chair people and the committee members will find this easier and less time consuming and generate a whole lot less paperwork. One of the things that is included in here, though, is at the either if a candidate decides not to continue all the way to the election, or at the conclusion of the election, that all of the candidate packets will be returned to the governing board. Those are governing board property. not thrown in the trash. We can reuse much of the material that's in there the next year, and that again cuts down costs and effort in order to create the packet for the next year. So agreement, John? You're in agreement with this? The changes to the petitioning and the candidate packet?
I can't hear you that well this morning.
Okay. The change to the process that says we're going to have a petitioner packet and then we're gonna have a candidate packet. Are you okay with that? Have you read it? Okay, you're all right with that? Merle?
Yes.
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 Okay, thank you very much. Then we're going to adopt that as our process modification going forward this year. The next thing that I'd like to mention is item 4.03, committee member responsibilities. These are listed in the packet that you were given also, I believe. There are a couple of things in it that I'd like to point out. Point 2.6, no member, no, that's, oh, yeah, it's item 4.03, it's C02, there's about 3 pages. The first one I'd like to mention is item 2.6. No member of the election committee shall represent that committee in any fashion to the association's employees, another committee, or any news media without express consent of its chairperson. Now, this goes not only to, what do you think about, but also if questions come up regarding, is so-and-so taking out a packet? Is so-and-so running for the election? This comes up. Please politely refer to those inquiries to me.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have no idea where you're reading.
Okay, there is in the, I think it's at the very back. There are 3 pages.
Okay,
Is it in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
thank you.
So this is to avoid, individuals or even governing board members, because even though we are commissioned by the governing board, we are not actually part of the governing board. So even if directors come up and say, has so-and-so taken out a packet, please politely tell them that you can't discuss that and refer them to me, okay? Thank you. Under section 3.0, there is a mention of the first business day of November, an owner member may pick up a packet. That's where this first week of November we're going, and we'll discuss this at the next meeting, and that is volunteering for some time slots during the 4 days, November 1st through the 4th, to man the office while Karen is in other meetings and so forth, just to be able to hand the packets out to the individuals. And I'm not sure exactly how that works yet, if someone will have to stop at the front desk and they'll have to, call down and ask us to come out and provide the packet, because technically none of us are supposed to be unescorted within the office building. So we'll figure it out how it's going to work, but we'll talk about the other next week also. Section 3.7, election day in March. Date will be set. The date has been set. However, there is something that I think came up last year regarding coverage for at-home voting, and we need to try to make sure that we're able to help provide any gap that comes up there. In other words, if people call in and say, I don't know how to use a computer and I'm not able to get to vote on the election day, that we have some people that are able to go out and actually get ballots to them and then bring them back in. So there might be one, like myself, maybe running around. But I assume that on voting day that all of us will spend as much time as possible at the resource center helping with the election. That is, guiding people in, keeping them as comfortable as possible while they're waiting in line, helping them with the computer, just making sure the process flows smoothly. There was one other, I think, Nope, those were the only three things in particular I saw there that I wanted to mention that needed to be emphasized again. And we'll go over some of those other responsibilities again as, at the next meeting next Tuesday. The committee schedule going forward right now, we have a meeting scheduled next Tuesday, the 25th of October at 9 o'clock in the morning here in the lecture hall. And the very last page, I think, of the package you were given has all of those dates right now. You notice that the meetings end in March because in essence, once the election is over, we're done. We really have nothing more to contribute other than a final meeting at the end of March because the election will have been completed where we wrap up and provide the end of the year notes. So other than that, we function as a regular board committee. I have to provide, monthly, end of month reports up to the governing board secretary regarding, what we've accomplished and what we're doing, and if we have any issues that the governing board can assist us with. But I really have not too much more other than to ask if there are any comments or questions from you members of the committee, who I again greatly appreciate volunteering to assist me as I stumble through this.
Well, I believe that you're stumbling very well so far. Very, very well, Brian. Will we at next week's meeting then make determinations as to when we will be covering for Karen on November 1st and
Yes.
few days?
Yeah, I would like to be able to have Karen have a list of who's going to be there when, so that can be given to the folks at the front desk of the governing, or at the governing board membership office. So they will be able to have a name and then be able to put a face with that name, but they'll know who is qualified to be there at a particular point in time. Yes, so I'm trying to make sure that we get that covered up. But I'd like to see if I can get some folks to volunteer for like a 3-hour slot, either 9 to noon or noon to 3 or noon to 2, to be there when Karen's not available because she's busy handling all of the other committees right now. And so the first week of the month is very, very busy for her. So, you're good?
Yeah, good.
John, you're good? Okay. I would like to say, first of all, or also thank you to Luann, who is going to fill in for me while I am on a long ago previously scheduled vacation in the spring. And so I'm asking her to assume as the vice chairman the position, and she has all of the authority that I have while I'm gone. And Merle has volunteered to again be the secretary because of all of the accolades I heard about her and her stellar work last year in that position. So other than that, when you look through this packet again at your leisure, you'll see that there are dates that will be handed out in the petitioner packet when some things will be going on for them if they become candidates. All of those dates are dates when we, the committee, need to be present in order to assist. In other words, we have to help with the forums, with collecting questions, making sure that the questions are properly presented and answered in an organized fashion. We right now have a plethora of questions from previous years. I think we kind of need to go through and maybe whittle those down a little bit. There are some that aren't pertinent any longer, like what do you think about if we remove the orange trees along all the major boulevards? So that's kind of a non-issue now, so that probably isn't one we want to ask again. But I think we could probably boil that down some, as well as if there are any other questions that haven't been asked that are, more pertinent to what's going on today. Certainly any members of the committee can suggest those and we'll incorporate them, as well as on the days of the forum, we'll have people handing out cards for the attendees, the audience, to fill out questions to be asked too. So anyway, these dates are going to be dates that right now. Kind of see if you can make time on your schedule for those, because this is when we're going to be doing more of our in-person work, one-on-one with the candidates themselves. And again, all of these dates are candidates. This is after January 1st, after those people have qualified from petitioner to candidate status. All right, so if there are no other questions or comments, I'd like to adjourn the meeting at 9:25. Thank you very much for attending, and thank all of you who are watching this presentation.